think this is working. Hey, this is Dave here to talk about, I get this, I've showed this before, it's a little remote control, and I think I hit the record button, but we'll see. I mean, if there's no video at the end, so be it. Then I'll have to redo it. But I think it works because I got that little flippy thing so I can see what's going on. So oh, there's a hawk sitting up on a post up there. Interesting. Sorry. So I'm Dave, here to talk about the brand new Dave's Picks Volume 41. If you're watching this, you probably know that. That's why you clicked onto it. For me, it's kind of hard to believe we're at number 41. Going back more than 10 years ago to 2011, when the Dave's Picks series was conceived, primarily by Mark Pincus and Doran Tyson at Rhino. And they called me up at the end of spring of 2011. And they asked me about doing the Dave's Picks series. I've kind of told the story before, and I said I think it's an okay idea. I'll gladly lend my name to it if that's what they think would be good. So we did, and from that very beginning, two things I want to talk about going back to 2011 is as the series started out, I kind of mapped out the first 20, which, I mean, by mapping it out, not specific shows, but eras, years maybe to hit. And after like the first couple, we didn't really stick with that very well. And that's largely because much of what we do is reactive to what else we're doing. So if we have a box set from, let's say, 1990 or something like that, chances are we won't put out a 1990 release that year. So a lot of what we do is reactive to the other things we do, whether they're record store day or box sets or things like that. The first thing we kind of mapped out 20, I thought, well, that's 5 years. I mean, it'd be amazing. This is 2011. So if we can get this series from 2012 to 16, 17, that's pretty impressive. That's like looking now in 2022, looking ahead to 2027, which seems like a million years in the future, but blink of an eye, it'll be gone. And so that was one thing that I kind of took away from more than 10 years ago. And the other thing is on a specific level, it was a daunting task. What do we start the series with? Similar to Dick Latvala opening the Dick's Pick series with the incredible 1973 show, which absolutely the right pick, but he'd chosen 3 shows for that possible release. One was the Philly Spectrum 9/21/77, and one was 9/21/72. The other was 10/11/77, both of which have pretty much been released. The Philly show in 72 in its entirety as the final Dick's Picks, as it happens. And then the other one through various other sources as kind of bonus material, hidden tracks on Dick's Picks 29, things like that. So we were kind of faced with the same thing where we wanted to start with a bang. We wanted to start with something that everybody would really, really dig. And so what we ended up starting with, well, as you know, was Richmond, Virginia, 5/25/77. But there were really 4 shows that we had it kind of narrowed down to. We had the Richmond show, we had the Hartford show from 74, which became Dave's Picks Volume 2, the very next one. We had a 3rd show, which I won't tell you about because there's a very good chance it will be released down the road. Great show. I don't like to tip my head. Partly because if I mention that it's going to be a likely release, I think people will be waiting with bated breath because it's a really great show. But it's not imminent. It's not one of the next 2 or 3. So in that case, we're just kind of waiting on that one, whether it's going to be or not. And then the 4th show was May 26, 1977 in Baltimore. So here we are at number 41 with the show that was very nearly Volume 1 going back to 2012. So finally it's come out, and I think it's a spectacular show, as you'd expect from May 77. But if you look at the Richmond show, very much the elements of spring 77, that precision Grateful Dead, the coming out of the studio after recording Terrapin Station, really, I mean, up there with like some of the most precise Grateful Dead, and I say that in a very good way. They were locked in sync. The next night in Baltimore, I find to be an equally great show, and in some ways maybe even surpasses the Richmond show, but I feel that it's got a bit of a rougher energy, similar to the fall of 77, not quite a 78 energy, but a fall 77, where it's a little, I don't want to say rougher or anything like that, but it's definitely a bit of a different energy, and that's what I feel about the Baltimore show. So it's got everything you want from May 77 with a really a really, I don't want to say rough again, but a really great energy that is to me akin to the fall 77 material, which I absolutely love. In a lot of ways I like it more than May 77, certainly equal to it. I don't like to kind of play favorites because I love it all, I really do. So the Baltimore show. There's so much to talk about. It's such a great show. If you're watching this, these Dave's picks tend to sell out within a few days, sometimes a few hours. So my recommendation is head over to dead.net if you're not already there and pick it up, because they do sell out faster than we'd expect. And remember, we've more than doubled where we started the series with 12,000 of each of them. 10, 11 years ago. We're at 25,000 now, and they're still selling out even more quickly. So thank you for the support, by the way. We really do appreciate it. It's why we keep doing what we do. And we'll keep going as long as you keep being interested. So the Baltimore show at the Baltimore Civic Center, which is kind of one of those, it's a good-sized arena, but it's a mid-sized arena. It's not an NBA, NHL, like current NBA, NHL. Hockey, which is to say 16,000, 17, it's not quite that. It's a big place, but it's not that big. The Cap Center down the road, which interestingly enough, if you get Dave's Picks 41, you'll read an interesting thing about a comparison of vans between Cap Center and Baltimore Civic. The Grateful Dead was certainly able to sell out the Cap Center, but instead they played the Baltimore Civic on this tour. And I mean, I really do love this show. So it opens up with Music Never Stopped, followed by Sugary, similar to Dick's Picks Volume 3 from Pembroke Pines, that was released more than 25 years ago by Dick Latvala and Grateful Dead Productions. And Sugary on this tour, to me, this is where the song peaked. Throughout 76, when they brought it back, when they came back from touring to tour, Sugary was building as the year went on, and by October, there's a great one in Oakland. It was really building, and by the spring of 77, that to me is where it really, I think, peaked. And I think there's a lot of great Sugaries for the next 18 years, a whole lot of them. But these ones were monumental, blow the roof off the place kind of things. This one is certainly up there with the one from Dick's Picks Volume 3, the one from Atlanta on May 19th, exactly a week earlier. That's how much great music these guys were playing. Remember, Cornell was only 2.5, 3 weeks before this. Boston, Buffalo, New Haven, St. Paul, Tuscaloosa was only 9 days before this. This is an amazing period for the Grateful Dead. And other highlights to me of the first set, the 3 brand new songs. The Dead had debuted 3 songs on this tour: Sunrise, Passenger, and Jack-A-Row. Jerry brought out Jack-A-Row in Tuscaloosa. Really, really amazing stuff. So those 3 songs are all in the first set, and they're all really wonderful. I think Passenger, Passenger is one of my favorite Weir sung tunes. It's written by Phil Lesh and Peter Monk, remember, but Bob sings it. I love it. I love the raunch that they brought to Passenger. Sunrise is beautiful, and Jack-A-Row, what an addition to the set list. It kind of stuck around a bit, and then they played it acoustically at the Warfield in Radio City, and then they kind of dropped it after a little while, and then they brought it back in 1988. Love Jack-A-Row. And then another big highlight for me, there's a Brown Eyed and a New Minglewood, but another big highlight is Bertha to end the first set. Now Bertha primarily at this time was a first set opener. So here it is ending the first set, which I love when they do twists like this. I remember seeing Bertha 10 years later in 1987 close the first set. And even then I thought, well, this is pretty cool. Bertha to close the first set, traditionally a show opener. Interestingly enough, sort of, at my first 6 Grateful Dead shows in 1987, I saw Bertha played 3 times, and none of which were show openers. They played at the second song of the first set once, Hell in a Bucket, Bertha, a first set closer a week later, and then in the fall I saw it open a second set. So anyhow, there's a little Bertha history. The second set, as you'd expect, it's a massive one. The jam sequence in particular, but remember there's a few shorter songs to open this first set. Samson and Delilah, a simply spectacular, beautiful, heartfelt high time, and Big River, which I always love. I think I once Twittered this, that I don't think I've ever... Oh geez, there's an eagle flying over. Let's see if I can get this. Oh, there he is. There he is. Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. I hope you don't mind. That was a big bald eagle. And as you know, I kind of like, I gotta reach. I think I can see the. Do you hear that? He just landed in this tree. There's two of them. I think I showed them in a video last year. We call them coho and chinook, after the two primary big types of salmon around here. Can you hear that? That's a bald eagle in the tree, and they're kind of right through the branches. Anyhow, I'm sorry. So Big River, I once Twittered, I don't think I've ever met a Big River I don't like. And this goes, again, proving my point. I love Big River, whether it's the one drummer arrangement from 72 to 74 or 76 onward with the two drummers. I absolutely love Big River. It's one of my favorite, or maybe even my favorite, of the country songs that the Grateful Dead either covered or even originals. And then the jam sequence. It's typically it's a unique sequence, as they all were in 1977. They didn't do a repeated, there's a few sequences in later years that were, if not repeated, very close. Scarlet Fire, Estimated Eyes, other one, Wharf Rat, Throwing Stones, Not Fade Away, things like that. This one starts off with Terrapin Station, brand new, debuted a couple months earlier in February, followed by Estimated Profit, another of the new songs, which up until the Buffalo show 2 weeks earlier had always been a standalone song. Whether it was in the first set or the second set, it was a song that they jammed on for about 7 minutes usually, and then they ended it, and then they play the next song. And it was Buffalo, I think, was the first time that they segged it into something, and in that case it was into the other one. In this case, it's the much more common for the next 13 years until 1990. Estimated goes into Eyes of the World, and it's a great Eyes of the World, very long. It's a phenomenal Eyes of the World, actually. That combination stuck around 13 years until 1990, when they started switching it up more, actually primarily doing Eyes into Estimated with the slower arrangement of Eyes, which I really love those. I can certainly think of some 1986 and 87 versions of Eyes of the World that clock in at 7 minutes maybe, and they're played pretty fast. And so after that, after a little drum break, a 17-minute version of Not Fade Away. And when I see a Not Fade Away that's that long, it indicates that they're going to take their time and jam between the verses. And they really do here. It's one of those ones, you think of the closing of Winterland a year and a half later, it's kind of one of those ones that just keeps going with incredible exploration between each of the verses. It's not just powerhouse, which it is powerhouse during moments, but it's really a spectacular version of Not Fade Away. After that, Going Down the Road Feeling Bad, which is always great, always used to get me up dancing. And then Around and Around, and then an encore. I love these versions from 1977. You think of Buffalo, and this one, Uncle John's Band. And it is just a beautiful Uncle John's Band, and you can tell the band was leaving Baltimore on the high. This is the penultimate show of the spring tour of 1977. They played one more night. They took the next night off, played in Hartford on May 28th. That's also a CD called To Terrapin. And then they took a couple more days off, and then on June 1st, band and crew all went to New York City to see the debut of the Grateful Dead movie at the Ziegfeld Theater in New York City. And then presumably the next day or the day after, they hopped a flight to Los Angeles, and they played June 4th in LA, and then 3 nights at Winterland, June 7th, 8th, and 9th, before taking the summer off. Mickey was injured in an accident, and then they took the summer off, and then they came back at Englishtown onward to that fall tour of 77 that I've kind of mentioned. So a lot going on in the Grateful Dead world. So what I would suggest, if you're interested in this, I got something else to say actually. Head over to dead.net, because they will sell out quickly, and if you like that May 77 sound, this is that. But there's something very special about this show, a little different in a great way. I love this show, I really do. Again, it was very, very close to being Dave's Picks Volume 1 more than 10 years ago. So here we are in heading into number 4, into the 40s with number 41, and it has finally made its time. Now, if you ended up getting Dave's Picks Volume 40, at the end of 2021, a couple months ago. From, oh, there's the eagle again. Can you hear that? I don't know if you can hear that. But if you ended up getting the two Deer Creek shows, as we mentioned with the Deer Creek shows, it's 2 complete shows on 4 CDs with the exception of the encore, the final night, the second night, US Blues. And in our endless attempt to always get you complete shows in the Dave's Picks series, I don't think it'll always be possible, but when it is, we do what we can. And in that case, we couldn't get them on the CDs. The CD length is 80 minutes, and we cram those with 80 minutes of music. Each of those CDs, no room for US Blues. So what we've done on number 41, we've gone back to Deer Creek in 1990, and we have as an added track, a bonus track. It's not hidden, it's labeled US Blues. So if you do want to complete your Deer Creek release and you're kind of on the fence about the Dave's Picks 41, I don't know why you would be, it's a really good show, but I mean, do what you want, but the Deer Creek will be complete if you get it, because the US Blues is on here. And it's raised an interesting insight to us that we can do more of this. So if ever we do have a show that's too long, and there are a couple of shows in the Grateful Dead vaults that are longer than 3 CDs, and if ever that happens again, we can maybe put those extra songs on the next release in the series. But anyhow, that's a little kind of literally an added bonus. If you subscribed, no need to concern yourself with getting to dead.net and ordering it unless you want to get one for a friend. But if you didn't subscribe, they will sell out pretty quickly. Tend to be within a few days. It's occasionally been within a few hours. So I don't want to see you get shut out of it. So head over to dead.net if you're interested. It really is, I think, a wonderful show. All the way from the Music Never Stops Sugary that opens through that first set with all that great stuff I just mentioned. And the second set, Jam, is going to take you on a journey. It reminds me, a crow just flew over. It reminds me of the Hartford set, not in terms of performance, so every performance is unique, but in terms of the flow and how the band was clearly feeling it this night. I think they wanted to end this tour with a bang. Incidentally, the tour was originally scheduled to end on May 22nd in Pembroke Pines, and around early May, maybe around the 5th or 10th even, that's when they decided to add these 3 final nights in Richmond, Baltimore, and Hartford. I don't know if it's because they figured let's stick around on the East Coast so we can do the premiere of the Grateful Dead movie on June 1st, or they were just simply having so much fun that they figured let's keep playing. Regardless, we're very fortunate that they did, because that's 3 more shows from what's widely considered one of the coolest, best tours in the Grateful Dead's history. Thank goodness. So check it out, dead.net. In a few months, we're going to have Dave's Picks Volume 42 coming out, the Winterland from 1974, but we'll get to that later. A lot of great stuff coming out this year. This is the first video of the year, by the way. Here we are on January 14th today. We got a lot of videos coming up later this year, which is to say a lot happening this year. I've mentioned this before. We actually ended up pushing a couple of releases from 2022 into 2023 because we have a lot happening this year, and a lot of variety too. So if you do like variety, if you do like different types of things, different eras, this is the year for you, I think. I'm excited about this year. I really am. I'm going home now to listen to more music and upload this video to the folks at Rhino. Lauren, thank you very much for making this happen. I don't mention the people behind the scenes enough because without everybody on this team, nothing happens. I happen to be making the video, but then they happen to be getting it out to you and making it presentable and stuff. So Lauren, thank you. And everybody else at Rhino. You know, I'm going to go through a quick little thanks to everybody. Obviously, Mark Pincus and Doran Tyson and Yvette Ramos. Those 3 are the key cogs in the Dave's Picks series, and really everything Grateful Dead, Rhino related. And then we've got Steve Woolard, Steve Vance, who does our wonderful package design, Jeffrey Norman, you know, amazing guy, one of my best friends in the world, and an incredible mastering engineer, Mike Johnson at the Vault, who kind of gets the tapes shuffling around the world so that we can make these incredible CDs, I think. So thanks for everyone, to everyone, because it's a big team effort. I know I'm forgetting a few people, but without each of these key pieces of the team, nothing gets done. So thank you, everybody. Lauren, I'm going to go upload this now, and thank you very much. We'll see you guys here in a couple of months when we get into the next Dave's Picks and a few other really cool releases. I don't think the waves were too bad this year to this day. So thanks. The eagles, cannot see them, so they probably flew away. Anyhow, thanks for watching. Bye.